and do a live reacting to the press conference that we just had this afternoon with Mikel Arteta. I spoke to Mohamed El-Neni as well. I thought I'd just pop on, update you on what Mikel has had to say if you haven't seen that yet. And at the end of this, I will take some of your questions. So please do fire. Sorry, already you're popping up saying I'm late. I have to write. Unfortunately, I can't come on straight after because I have to write some stories from it. So unfortunately, yeah, maybe it finished about an hour ago. But anyway, please don't hold that against me. I will try and answer some of your questions and do a bit of a Q&A at the end of this, so do fire away. For the first sort of 5-10 minutes, I'm probably just going to go over a little bit at the press conference, so don't think I'm ignoring you. I'm not. I'm just going to rattle through this, get it out of the way, and then I will come back and answer some of your questions. So please do fire them my way if you so wish. Apologies as well that my two kids have just come back from school and are downstairs at the moment, currently tearing the house up. So if you hear them or they come charging upstairs and start banging on the door, then that's what all the noise is, and there's nothing I can do about that, I'm afraid. So apologies. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the press conference, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang will start there. Mikel Arteta saying the situation that we saw at the weekend against Tottenham when he was dropped and left on the bench and didn't come on has now been resolved. He says, "We've talked, everything has been resolved in a really positive way, so we all move forward." Which is good news, I think. And certainly we saw the pictures from Aubameyang in training yesterday, looking typical Aubameyang, smiles, laughing, looked perfectly happy, which is all good news. Mikel also asked, is he going to come straight back into the team? He says, no, everybody has to obviously perform at the highest level to earn their place in the team. There is no exception there, and we'll try and put on a really competitive team out tomorrow to try and win the game. Now, whether Aubameyang starts tomorrow, I'm not sure. I think that having that 2-goal advantage, having the 3 away goals, I think it gives Mikel a little bit of an opportunity to have one eye on the West Ham game at the weekend. I don't think he's going to make wholesale changes because we all know why what happened against Olympiacos last time. They've actually won on their last 2 visits to the Emirates. So I don't think he's going to take too many chances and make wholesale changes, but he might make a couple. And I do wonder if he might give Lacazette another start on Thursday night and leave Aubameyang on the bench once again. But we will wait and see. I will pop on tomorrow and do one of my usual pre-match videos talking about the predicted 11, that sort of thing. In terms of Bukayo Saka, really good news in Bukayo Saka. We thought he was going to be out for like 2 and 3 weeks with his hamstring problem, but he could even be involved tomorrow night. According to Mikel Arteta, he says he's doing another test and obviously felt something muscular at the weekend, but he's been much, much better. Been really well, evolving really well. So we'll make the decision this afternoon on what we'll do. So Saka obviously going through some tests at London Colney today, and he didn't train yesterday, but he's going through some tests today, and then Arsenal will make a decision about whether he should be involved on Thursday night. So that is good news for Arsenal, certainly good news for Bukayo Saka. I just think you err on the side of caution for me when it comes to Saka. You don't take any risks. I think the fact, like I said, with Aubameyang as well, the fact that they've got a 2-goal lead, they've got 3 away goals, I think that gives you a little bit of leeway. And you've had Saka's played so many minutes. I think this is the ideal opportunity. If there's any sort of injury doubt of him, you just give him a rest. You don't risk him at all. You play Nicolas Pepe on the right. You start Pepe. Probably have Willian on the left, you would imagine. Pepe on the right, Odegaard or Smith Rowe at number 10, something like that, with Lacazette as central striker. You just don't need to risk Saka. You've got the options there that there's no point taking a risk on him at all. But really good news, and you'd expect that means that he'll certainly be involved against West Ham at the weekend, which is a big, big boost for him. Big boost for England as well, because obviously England are coming up with their internationals, and you'd imagine Saka is going to be a part of that. So good news on the injury front there, and good news elsewhere on the injury front. Mikel saying everyone is more or less okay. We have a few doubts, but hopefully everyone will be involved in the squad. So things looking very good, fitness and injury-wise, for Arsenal, especially at this hectic time of the season when you think so many games have been played in such a demanding sort of fixture schedule. For Arsenal to have no injuries at the moment, that is really, really good news. Quickly on Martinelli, I know loads of you want to know about Gabriel Martinelli. It's always a question. I did speak about it a little bit in the video earlier on today. Mikel again asked today, why is he not playing? What's going on? He said, look, if anything, it's my fault. Gabriel has done everything perfectly. He trains incredibly well every day. His attitude cannot be any better. He is disappointed he is not playing more, obviously, and I have spoken to him, but he needs to be a little bit patient. He's had the minutes. He's had some games as well, and it's true the competition for front positions is very tough, but he needs to be patient, and he will get his chance. Will that chance come tomorrow night? You never know. It could do. I did think, as I said on this morning's video, the clips of him going around on social media yesterday with that sort of out-and-out centre-forward training he seemed to be doing on his own, working with the coaches, may well tell a little bit of a story about what's going on with him at the moment, and perhaps Arsenal are using this time to really train him up ahead of next season as a central striker. Maybe that's just us putting 2 and 2 together from those videos, but certainly Mikel there saying he will get his chance. He just needs to be patient, and I'm sure. I think the thing with Gabby is he made such an amazing impact last year and caught us all by surprise that immediately we all put him up on this pedestal and thinking he was this absolute world beater. But you've got to remember he's still only a very, very young kid who's barely played any football at the senior level until he came to Arsenal. We played no football at senior level until he came to Arsenal, and then obviously he just went straight through the roof straight away. And yeah, we all thought, well, Arsenal got an next Ronaldo, something like that, and we've got a little patient, I suppose. And remember, he is still a very, very young kid, and Arsenal have got him tied down to a long-term contract now. He's not going anywhere, and he will be hopefully a big part of Arsenal's future. So maybe Mikel's right. We do have to be a little bit patient with when it comes to Martinelli. But all in all, a very good news press conference for Arsenal. Really, Aubameyang resolved. Everyone happy on that regard. Saka injury boost, could well even be back involved tomorrow if needs be. No other injuries elsewhere, and then a little bit there on Gabriel Martinelli. The full transcript from the press conference is up on arsenal.com, I imagine, by now, so please do head over and read that if you want to find out anything more about it. But that's about it from today's press conference reaction. So now I'm seeing loads of you have been sending questions in, so apologies for my finger getting away in the camera here, but I'm going to scroll through and start taking some of your questions and reading some of them, apart from all you guys at the beginning saying that I'm late. Apologies for that. So let's go. What we got? Is Martinelli included in the Europa League squad? Yes, he is. Vermuela, I think that is who's asked me that. Yes, he is. How is Saka? I mean, I hope you've I've already answered that. I'm not sure if you've seen it or not, but if you haven't, then he's fine. Where he's having a late test today, could be involved tomorrow, but that certainly suggests that even if he is given the night off tomorrow, that he will be okay for West Ham. So good news from that. Hensley from Winnipeg: does Reece have a future with us, or will he be sold in the summer? Hensley, I think Reece will be off in the summer. I think he's had a really wasted season, to be honest. Certainly a wasted second half of the season. Should have gone out on loan. That wasn't Arsenal's fault, really. There was opportunities for him to go out on loan. He decided to stay. I'm not sure why, really, because now he's just playing under 23s football, which makes little sense to me for a player of that quality. So, yeah, I think he will go. I think that's I think he'll be gone. He'll be one of a few players that Arsenal look to cash in on in the summer. Vermeulen also asking about Nelson, so there's no point me going over that again. Josh says time to rest Saka. Pepe is ready to come in. I agree with you, Josh, absolutely. Luke says, would you rather finish 10th and win the Europa League, or somehow claw a 4th place finish but get knocked out tomorrow? I would rather finish 10 and win the Europa League, Luke, because either way you get in the Champions League, and if you win the Europa League you get a trophy. So absolutely, I'd 100% take finishing 10th and winning the Europa League, because you still end up in the Champions League next season. So you don't get a trophy finishing on the top 4. Aku says, do you think Arteta will heavily rotate the squad, or just 2 or 3 changes? I don't think he'll heavily rotate the squad. I did mention that. I think he's got an opportunity to perhaps make a couple of changes, but he won't make too many. He knows that this tie isn't over yet. He's well aware. He remembers what happened last season. So I don't think he'll make too many changes. I think he'll go very, very strong. If anything, he'll make changes against West Ham at the weekend, like he did against Leicester the other week. Wise Man says, let's take revenge and rest Saka this week. Ersin said, would you play Ryan tomorrow? No, for me, I'd still play Leno, to be honest, not Ryan. Although Ryan did perfectly well when he came in against Aston Villa, but I'd still probably play Leno. Zach says, wish Pepe and Martinelli play tomorrow, but I think Willian will get a start. Yes, I think Willian will start. I think Pepe will start as well. I think we might well see one of the number 10s get a rest. Possibly Odegaard, because he's played a lot of football recently. You might see Smith Rowe back at number 10, play Willian on the left, Saka on the right, behind Lacazette as a striker. Owen says, love to hear it. I presume that's from the injury news that I was talking about earlier. Shaquille says, Charles, in your honest assessment of Arsenal this season, do you think we can win the Europa League? Absolutely. Why not? Look, Arsenal have been pretty rubbish this season. We're not going to hide that, but certainly since Christmas, the form has been miles better. They've beaten United away, drawn with them at home this season. They've just beaten Spurs. So why can't they win the Europa League? Absolutely, they can. It's not going to be easy. There's some good teams left in it, but they've got an opportunity, no doubt about that. Augustine says, hello, Charles, is Lacazette staying? If no, who are the targets to replace him? Well, look, we don't know if Lacazette's staying yet. That's not something that Arsenal have decided. There will be talks with him in the summer about what to do with him. He's got 1 year left in his contract. Personally, I think they'll probably end up trying to move him on. Whether Lacazette wants to do that, we'll have to wait and see. But I think Arsenal would ideally like to move him on, get some money, and look to shake the striker department up in the summer. There are targets they've been looking at. I've mentioned Odison Edouard at Celtic. Before, he's certainly a player they like and have been watching for a long time. They're not alone in that, and Leicester City look like they might be in the driving seat for Edouard, given his previous relationship with Brendan Rodgers at Celtic. So there are other options they're looking at, but nothing's been decided yet. And until Arsenal know where they're finishing, what competition, if any European competition they're playing next season, then it's very hard for them to really have an out-and-out plan for the transfer window. Charles, who do you think has the potential higher ceiling, Saka or Martinelli? I would have to say Saka, just because of what Saka's achieved so far. Look, Martinelli's been was fantastic when he came in, but I think you've got to say Saka, no doubt about it for me. Saka's just been absolutely exceptional, what he's done already, the age he is and what he's doing at the top level consistently on a weekly basis. He's an absolute top talent. So for me, I would say Saka, but they've both got huge ceilings to hit. Smack my Bilic up. Can't wait to see Martinelli as a striker. Didn't rate him much on the left wing. I think he's more of a striker as well. I agree with that. Mishan says, yeah, we need to be patient with Gabriel Martinelli. The boy is an important part of our future number 9. Alex there saying, would you sell Lacazette in the summer? As I just mentioned, Alex, I think I would if a decent offer comes in. Not if someone's offering peanuts, but if someone gets a decent offer for Lacazette, I think it'd probably be best. I don't think he should get a new deal just because of his age, and it'd be another aging player tied down to a long-term deal. So I think if Arsenal can get a decent bit of money for him, then they should look to do that. Shoaib decides to do all the travel. Not sure what you mean. Arsenal are at home tomorrow night, so he wouldn't need to travel. Ahmed says, do you have hope on Balogun signing? I'm not sure. I've been hearing mixed messages, but I just think, I've said it all along, I think Arsenal are in a really difficult position with Balogun. I think they've started, given they cut off the contract talks and then started them again late, I think they're always in a difficult position. And I think maybe it rests on what's going on with Eddie and Nketiah. They've both got the same agent. Maybe the agent's waiting to see if Arsenal move on Eddie. Then suddenly Balogun's going to have a lot more opportunities next season. So maybe it's depending on that. But I still think if I was going to put my mortgage on if Balogun was going to stay or go, I'd probably lean towards him going. But you never know. There's still lots of time left. Arsenal still could convince him. And like I said, maybe the Eddie and Nketiah situation might play a part as well. So we'll just have to wait and see at the moment. Spaceman Trooper says, thoughts on who's playing right back tomorrow? I think it'll be Bellerin. I think Bellerin hasn't played for a while, has he? So I think Bellerin will probably get a start tomorrow, and Cedric may get a night off, or Cedric might even play at left back, and Tierney gets a bit of a night off. Did you ever get that photo frame fixed? Look, you can just about see it there. It's very much fixed now, yes. Glass is redone, and it's hanging up in its rightful place where it should be, rather than balancing precariously behind me. Ed Trussell says, have you been following Ainsley's progress at West Ham? If so, what do you think? I can't say I have been really closely. I have to say I'm too biased. It takes enough time following Arsenal to follow what's going on at West Brom at the moment. He seems like he's been doing well. The couple of times I've seen him playing, he's been doing all right. I still think when you look at what might happen this summer, that it's likely that Arsenal might look to cash in on him Michan says, Charles, do you think we could make Odegaard permanent signing this summer? I think it'll be really difficult just because of the money involved, just because Real Madrid potentially will want him to stay. I think that Arsenal got more of a chance of doing what they did with Ceballos and maybe getting him back for another full season on loan next season. Back again, saying the same thing. Do Arsenal have the funds to buy Odegaard? I think it's going to be unlikely. I think that Real Madrid will want an awful lot of money for him tomorrow in the summer, and it might price Arsenal out of that one. AFC Harry, do you think Joe Willock will have a future at Arsenal? I think Joe Willock falls in the same category for me as Maitland-Niles, Nelson, people like that. I just wonder if he'll be part of what Arsenal look to do this summer in terms of selling players, bringing in money and shaping up the squad. I think, does he really want to come back and be a substitute for Arsenal now, having gone to Newcastle, played a key part, been playing really well up there? I think probably you look to sell him. And Brett there, you mentioned Guendouzi. I think Guendouzi is another player that Arsenal look to sell. He's only got 1 year left on his contract. You can't imagine he's going to sign a new one given what's happened. And so you really have to look to sell him and get some money. Agent E says Saka and Xhaka need to be rested tomorrow. I wouldn't be against that, especially Xhaka has played so many minutes recently. Thoughts on Fabrizio Romano saying we're definitely keen on Odegaard, keeping Odegaard. Josh, look, Arsenal will absolutely be definitely keen on keeping Odegaard. There's no doubt about that. It's just whether they can get a deal done for it. Like I said, I think the most likely option would be Arsenal doing what they've done with Ceballos and agreeing another season-long loan deal for Odegaard. I just think it's going to be very difficult for them to sign him on a permanent basis just because of the money that's going to be involved. I'm not ruling it out. You never know. They might find the money somewhere. But I still think if I was out of anything, the most likely option is that I'll probably get him on loan again for the season. Vidai says Nelson might become another Gnabry situation when he leaves. I mean, possibly. I don't think he will, but possibly. But I don't think you can always. You can't be scared of that every time a player leaves, because more often than not, they're not another Serge Gnabry, and I'm not sure Nelson will be, to be honest. Tesco, good name, says call me mad, but I still believe fourth is doable. I like that optimism. How is your leg, says Sunak? It's all right at the moment. My operation was cancelled. I've actually, the surgeon and his people been ringing me this morning actually with another date for later on in April, but I'm not sure yet if I'm going to take it or not, because it's actually feeling all right at the moment, and I'm not sure if I really want to go through surgery in April, but I'm in an iron about it. But thanks for asking anyway. Nitzvan asked, what do you think our lineup will be tomorrow? Tune in for tomorrow's video, Nitzvan. I will discuss that on my predicted 11. Tarek says Laka or Orba up front tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Laka again up front tomorrow, I have to say. Diogo says, where's Aziz in terms of first team opportunities? I think he's somewhere down the pecking order at the moment. I wonder next season if we might see Aziz sent out on loan to get some experience in senior football. I still think he's quite a way off in terms of Arsenal first team. Cameron asked, if Bellerin were to leave in the summer, how much do you think Arsenal would get, and how much would an Aarons or Lamptey cost to replace? I think Aarons or Lamptey would cost more than what Arsenal would get for Hector Bellerin. I have to say, I think you're probably looking about 25 million for Bellerin, potentially. But just given Aarons and Lamptey, the fact they're English, they're young, I think they're probably going to be more than that. And Lamptey's just signed a new contract. Norwich just have arrived in the Premier League, so I think you're looking at probably about 35 million for both of those. The Lumu 94, should we sell Nketiah? Look, I do think it's a tough one. Like, everyone's going to say, "Oh, what are you talking about?" But I think Eddie, the best thing for Arsenal to do is give Eddie a new contract, and that's because I'm not saying he's going to be a